Welcome to the Beyond Bloated Podcast. I'm Carly, a certified health coach helping women ditch their bloat without having to follow super strict and stressful protocols. As someone who's struggled with all sorts of digestive issues for over 5 years, I know exactly how you're feeling. I also know that there's a way to feel better, and it doesn't have to involve tons of expensive supplements and insanely restrictive diets. Join me as I share all of my bloat-busting wisdom to help you say goodbye to that bloated belly and regain your confidence. It's time for you to move beyond bloated. Happy New Year, everyone. This is my first episode of the new year, so welcome to 2025. I started this podcast 2024 April, and now we're in January, so can't believe I stuck with it and I'm enjoying it, and I hope you are too. I also hope that you are ready to get back into the swing of things now that it is January. I know during the holiday season we tend to indulge a little more, stay up late, get off of our routine, and just enjoy ourselves, which totally fine. No shame in that whatsoever. But of course, all good things must come to an end. If you listened to my episode last week, I talked about how to set sustainable, realistic goals that you can actually achieve in the new year. Because as we know, a lot of us get a little too ambitious come January, and we set these crazy goals and we can't actually make them happen. So then we give up a month or so in, and then we feel bad about that. So if you missed that episode, check it out. That was last week's. But in today's episode, I am going to help you achieve one of the goals that is probably on your radar, especially after December. Like I said, we eat, we drink, we do things we don't normally do. So come January, we're like, okay, I need to be healthy again. I need to eat better. I need to drink less. Sober January, eating more veggies, whatever it is that you have put in your mind. I feel like a common goal for January is to eat healthier. Now, again, if you listened to last week's episode, I talked about how we need to make that a very specific goal. Saying you want to eat healthier or eat better in the new year is great, but what does that mean to you? Does that mean you want to eat more vegetables at each meal? Does that mean you want to eat less ultra-processed food? Does that mean you don't want to drink alcohol every weekend? Whatever your goal is, that's up to you. Listen to last week's episode to help you put that goal in place, and then come back to today's episode because I am going to help you eat healthier on a budget. I feel like a lot of people are hesitant to start eating healthier because they think it's too expensive. I can't afford to eat healthy. I mean, groceries in general are expensive, no matter what you're eating. I would argue eating takeout is expensive. So if you're eating a lot of takeout right now, buying groceries and making food at home, even healthy things, is going to be cheaper than going out and buying takeout at every meal. Most of us probably spent more than usual in December, even November as well, Christmas, New Year's, parties, all the things. So we're kind of tapped out. We're like, no spend January, let's go. I don't want to spend a ton of money in January, but I want to eat healthier. So it's kind of a catch-22 because you want to eat healthier, but you believe that it's going to be too expensive. And so you can't do it right now because you spent too much money in the last couple months. And then the next month comes February and it's kind of off your radar. You don't really care that much anymore. And then so you don't do it ever. So we're going to get around that today. I am going to talk about 10 budget-friendly, gut-friendly foods that you can start buying at the grocery store. These are going to be very, very beneficial to your health. And we're not cutting anything out. We are simply adding these 10 foods into our diet, and they are not going to cost you an arm and a leg. We all know that what we put into our bodies is important. I like to emphasize that it is not the only thing that matters, but it is still important. If you're eating terrible food, junk food, ultra-processed food, you're drinking a lot of alcohol, but you are managing your stress and getting sleep and movement, which I doubt you're doing because you're not going to get a good sleep if you're drinking a lot. And that's also going to impact all other aspects of your health because you're going to be tired and sluggish. So you're not going to want to do exercise. But regardless, I'm off on a tangent here. The point is, what we eat is important. It's not the only thing. All those other aspects of your health are equally as important. But nutrition matters, let's be real. Food truly can be medicine if you eat the right things. And you don't have to buy the super fancy health food at the grocery store. You can buy expensive, healthy food. And that is typically the packaged food that's gluten-free, dairy-free, refined sugar-free, non-GMO, organic, whatever. Those are kind of like treats, I would say. Those aren't things you need to get your gut in shape. For example, if you have a gluten and dairy intolerance, you can't just go and buy regular crackers or cookies or chocolate. So they have healthier, allergy-friendly versions of those. And yeah, they charge way more than they need to for those products. But that's not what I'm talking about today. I am talking about very basic foods that you can make meals out of, you can make snacks out of, you can have these as pantry staples, and they're not super expensive because they really are just simple whole foods that everyone can and should eat. They don't have the fancy gluten-free, dairy-free, refined sugar-free label on them because they don't need any of that in it. So this is just a list of 10 that I picked. Obviously, there are a lot more than 10 foods that are going to benefit your gut, but I like these 10. I think they're beneficial. They're obviously beneficial for your gut. I think a lot of people like these foods. They're not super expensive, so they're affordable, and you can make a lot of meals with them. They're very versatile. So that's why I picked these. There's obviously more, but I'm starting with these 10 for this episode. All right, let's get into it. Number 1, I'm starting a little controversial here because some people, for some reason, think oats are an unhealthy food. I strongly disagree. I love oats. I eat them almost daily. They help keep me regular, and I don't have a blood sugar spike. I don't feel tired later. If you've heard oats are bad, I'm calling bullshit. I mean, if you eat them and you don't feel good, that's different. But to say blanket statement, oats are bad for you, absolutely not. Oats contain prebiotic fiber, like I said, helps keep me regular. Also great for digestion, and they're super affordable. Now, here is the caveat with oats. When you're buying oats, I do recommend that you buy organic and sprouted. Now, yes, this might increase the price a little bit, but let me explain why. If they are not organic, it is very highly likely that they have been sprayed with chemicals like glyphosate. Glyphosate destroys our microbiome. So if you are eating a food covered in chemicals, obviously that is not beneficial to your gut. I suggest buying sprouted because any sort of sprouted grain just makes it easier to digest. So if you do have any sort of issue with oats, I've actually had a client before who told me oats don't agree with her. I told her to buy organic and sprouted. She started eating them, no issues. So it could be A, you need them sprouted for easier digestion, or B, the chemicals that are all over them are bothering you, not the oats itself. I live in British Columbia, and the Costco by me sells a big old bag of organic sprouted rolled oats. Definitely affordable if you have that. Other than that, oats, even though they're organic and sprouted, they're still not a very expensive food. You can buy it bulk. Bulk obviously makes it cheaper. And yeah, if you have a Costco membership, check there. Some of my favorite ways to eat oats, I make a lot of overnight oats. I also make a lot of baked oats for breakfast. Now, of course, oats are a carb, so we don't just want to eat them on their own, as we would not want to eat any carb on their own. So I do pair this with protein powder when I make my overnight and baked oats. I also pair it with healthy fats, so I typically add almond butter on top. I also add fruit, so blueberries, some sort of frozen berry. You can also blend it up and make your own oat flour. So if you ever bake with oat flour, you don't have to go and buy oat flour. You can just grind up your own oats and there you go. You have flour. Way cheaper than buying it already pre-ground because they charge for that. Number 2, we have chia seeds. These are packed with fiber and omega-3s, which benefits our gut. And they're also very affordable because you can buy them in bulk. Like oats, they can sit in your cupboard in their package for a very long time and they will not go bad. So you can just have it on hand. I buy my organic chia seeds at Costco. You can get a big old bag of it. I pick up my oats, I pick up my chia seeds, plunk them in my cupboard. I add chia seeds to my overnight oats, so double whammy there. You could also make chia pudding with it. The one cautionary thing I have for chia seeds, you don't want to eat them dry because they're very absorby. If you've ever made overnight oats or chia pudding with chia seeds in there, you'll notice they suck up all the moisture. So if you eat them without soaking them first, they're going to suck up all the moisture in you. And we don't want that. So don't sprinkle them on salads or anything like that. Make sure you soak them in like chia pudding before you eat them. Number 3, homemade bone broth. Bone broth, if you buy it at the store, is expensive. Very expensive. But it is very cheap to make it yourself at home. And you get way more of it. And it lasts you longer. This stuff is packed with collagen, gelatin, and amino acids like glutamine that help repair and strengthen the gut lining, reduces inflammation, and promotes healthy digestion. You just take leftover bones from chicken and then throw in some vegetable scraps, some eggshell membrane that is very good for collagen. Things that you would kind of just throw in the garbage and be wasted, put it in your bone broth. And that's a very economical way to extract nutrients. It's cheap, it's nutrient dense, and it's delicious. My favorite way to consume bone broth is to drink a cup of it first thing in the morning. So you just heat it up on your stove, have a sippy. That's great for your gut. Or you can make soup with it. Chicken noodle soup, split pea soup, a stew. Sometimes I cook my chicken in bone broth, so I'll put it in the Instant Pot, and instead of adding water to the pot, I'll add bone broth. Same with cooking grains. If you're cooking quinoa or rice, don't use water. Use bone broth. Makes it way more nutrient dense. Number 4 is cabbage/sauerkraut. So you can buy cabbage and make your own sauerkraut by fermenting it. Hey everyone, Carly here. If you are tired of feeling bloated and uncomfortable, which I know you are, I have something that can really help. My free ultimate guide to bloat busting. I've been there myself, and I know how frustrating it is to try super restrictive diets and expensive supplements without getting results. If those methods were going to work, they would have worked by now. That's why I created this guide to offer you a different approach. In the ultimate guide to bloat busting, you'll learn techniques to listen to your body and eat with intention, avoiding overeating and choosing foods that truly benefit you, tips for proper hydration to support digestion and reduce bloating, a guide to delicious foods that promote a healthy gut and how to easily incorporate them into your meals, and effective methods to manage stress, which plays a huge role in gut health. These simple, practical strategies can make a big difference in your daily life, helping you feel lighter, more energized, and comfortable in your own skin. Ready to ditch the bloat without strict diets or costly supplements? Download your free copy today at beyondbloated.com/ultimate-guide and start your journey to a bloat-free life. Now, let's get back to it. I have never actually fermented anything myself, so this would be a test for you. I don't have any tips on how to do it. I've seen videos of it. I've read about it. It doesn't seem that difficult. I just haven't got around to doing it. The other good thing about cabbage is that it is on the clean 15 list, which means it is not loaded with pesticides. So if you were to do this, ferment the cabbage and make sauerkraut, you don't necessarily have to buy organic cabbage because it's on the clean 15. So that saves you $1 or $2 right there. And then the alternative is to buy sauerkraut. This is going to be a little more expensive than buying cabbage and fermenting it yourself. But if you don't want to ferment it yourself, you don't have time, you just want to buy it as sauerkraut, go right ahead. I buy mine, again, from Costco. I get a massive thing of sauerkraut for not that much, and it lasts me weeks. Sauerkraut, because it's fermented and then you pop it in the fridge, it lasts a long time. At least it seems to. If I'm eating bad sauerkraut, I haven't noticed. So buying sauerkraut, more expensive than buying cabbage and fermenting it, but it's more convenient. Anything fermented like sauerkraut should be purchased in the refrigerator section, and it should say on it, raw, unpasteurized sauerkraut. And that way it contains live probiotics. So you're getting probiotics from food, and it's really tasty. So I put that on salads. I put it on sandwiches, my eggs, avocado toast, pizza even. You just don't want to heat it up. So I add it as like the final topping to whatever it is that I'm eating. So it doesn't go in the oven with my pizza. I pull my pizza out and I slap some sauerkraut on it before I eat it. Number 5 is something that I have been drinking pretty much daily for over a year now, and that is green tea. Green tea is high in polyphenols, which help feed our good gut bacteria, and it's lower in caffeine than coffee. So if you're trying to kick your coffee habit, but you're not quite ready to give up caffeine, switch to green tea. It's kind of a happy medium. That way you are still getting some caffeine, but you're also getting the benefit of polyphenols. Last year, I switched to loose leaf tea instead of buying bagged tea after I watched a video and saw that I'm being scammed. The video showed how much loose leaf tea you get for the same price of bagged tea. And then she cut open all of the bags and poured it out. And it was like this little pathetic pile of tea leaves compared to this like massive jar of loose leaf tea for the same price. So I was like, oh my God, I'm being scammed. Also, a lot of bagged tea is filled with chemicals and microplastics and whatever else they put in there. So loose leaf is better and it's more economical. So I go downtown to a little tea shop and I buy organic loose leaf teas and they last me forever. I buy like a medium-sized container and I have them for months and months and months and I drink it every single day. I have a cup every single day. Definitely an affordable option with gut health benefits. Number 6 is frozen berries. Now, I love berries, and berries have so many health benefits. They're rich in antioxidants and fiber. They're very versatile. You can just put them in whatever like baked good you're having. You can eat them on your own, put them in a smoothie, whatever. And they're affordable year-round when you buy them frozen. If you go to buy fresh berries during the winter, they taste terrible, for one thing, because they're not in season. And then they're charging us like $8 for a little thing of berries. So you're being overcharged for berries that aren't in season, which means that they don't have the nutrients that berries that are in season have. So they're not even as nutritious. Like I said, they taste bad. Buying berries when they're not in season is not a good idea, but I like berries and I want to eat them all the time. I go to Costco and I buy a big old frozen bag of organic wild frozen blueberries. They're so good. They're like the little tiny guys. These ones I put in my overnight oats. I put them in my baked oats, put them in smoothies. I made a pie with them before. Very good and affordable when you buy them frozen from Costco. At number 7, we have eggs. Eggs are a affordable source of protein, especially when you compare them to buying like organic chicken breast or grass-fed beef, and they're easy on the digestive system. There are people who have a sensitivity to eggs, but if you don't, you probably can tolerate them pretty well. Now, you do need to watch for what eggs you are buying, because when you crack that bad boy open, the yolk should be very orange. If it is yellow or like not quite orange, it's not great. The orangeness shows that it is nutrient dense. And think about like the way that the chicken is treated, that's going to impact its stress response. And if you are getting an egg from a hella stressed out chicken, it is not going to be as nutritious as one from a chicken who is treated relatively well. So if you can find a local farm that sells pasture-raised organic eggs, they're usually cheaper to buy them straight from the farmer. And even my grocery store doesn't sell good eggs. I go to the grocery store and I stare at the egg section for like 5 minutes and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what one's the best one here? And then I end up spending $9 on the organic cage-free eggs. And then I crack it open and it's yellow. And I'm like, oh my God, how do I get good eggs? So I have pretty well stopped buying eggs at my local grocery store because they're just not good. Look for a local farmer. Look for flax-rich eggs, pasture-raised, organic, and when you open it, check that it's orange. Number 8 is a food that I now love that I used to hate. Sweet potatoes are so good, and I used to not like them because I was eating the shitty restaurant fries, like sweet potato fries that are cooked in garbage oil. And this was even before I became healthy Carly. I loved fries, but I tried sweet potato fries and I was like, ew, don't like those. So it took me a pretty long time to discover that I actually like sweet potatoes, but I am sure glad that I did because they are a very nutrient-dense carb. Sweet potatoes are a carb, and yes, we need carbs. There is a difference between healthy carbs like sweet potatoes and empty carbs like chips, but sweet potato, nutrient-dense carb, great. And they also contain gut-friendly fiber, so again, going to help keep you regular. Sweet potatoes are affordable, and they are on the Clean 15 list as well. So you don't have to buy organic. You can buy just general sweet potatoes, and you don't have to stress about them being loaded in pesticides because they're on the Clean 15 list. And these are great as fries. You can make them yourself in the air fryer. You can roast them. And my favorite thing to do with sweet potatoes is to make sweet potato brownies. I've talked about this recipe before. It's one of my favorites. Everybody loves it. Look up sweet potato brownies and make them. You'll be obsessed. Number 9, honestly might not be for everybody, but I used to not be a fan either, and now I am a fan. So if you've never tried it, give it a go. It's canned tuna. Tuna is very rich in omega-3s, which helps reduce gut inflammation, and it's very high in protein. One of those little cans of tuna has, I believe, over 30 grams of protein in it. So if you are trying to hit your protein goals, canned tuna is a very quick and easy way to do that. This is another thing that I buy at Costco. So I get like 8 cans of tuna for a very affordable price. You want to make sure you buy the tuna that's in water, not in oil. I use it to make tuna salad. I put it on crackers. I put it on bread. It's a great lunch. It's a great snack. And as I said, very protein rich. Last but not least, we have herbs and spices. So things like ginger and turmeric aid digestion, reduce bloating, reduce inflammation, and they make our food taste good. And if you head over to the bulk barn or any sort of bulk store, you can get so many of these spices for such a reasonable price, and they last forever. I know people say, you're not supposed to have your spices for too long or they go bad. I don't know what that timeline is. So maybe don't buy like too much spices, but the point is you can buy a lot of spices for a low cost, and they are beneficial to your gut. You can obviously put them on everything you cook, different spices, different benefits, different tastes. So go check out the bulk store and get a whole wide variety of spices and start changing up the taste of your food. So that's my list of 10 for you. As I said, there's a lot more than just 10 beneficial foods. This is what I'm going with for now. If you're just getting into the swing of things, making more meals at home, eating less takeout, try starting with these 10. To recap, we've got organic sprouted oats, organic chia seeds, homemade bone broth, cabbage, green tea, frozen berries, eggs, sweet potatoes, canned tuna, and herbs and spices. Very simple, very beneficial for your health. A few bonus tips for you to help reduce costs when you're shopping for healthier options. You can buy in bulk. So dry goods like the oats and the chia seeds and loose leaf tea are all cheaper when you buy in bulk. So you can go to Costco. That's a great place for bulk if you have a membership. You can hit up somewhere like the Bulk Barn, which is, as it sounds, a bunch of bulk bins. Or if you have another option that I don't know about, just buying bulk items of things that are going to stay good for a long time. That's going to keep prices down. B, embrace the frozen and canned options. Now, I don't recommend you buy canned vegetables or fruits because those typically aren't as nutritious, but canned tuna is great. And the frozen vegetables and frozen fruits, those are great because they're typically picked at peak season, peak ripeness, so they have all the nutrients. Frozen makes them last longer, so they're not going to go bad. And then you can just use them however you would normally use them. You're saving money and you're getting all the nutritional benefits from the foods that are frozen or canned, and they have a longer shelf life. So you don't have to stress about them going bad after you spent all this money on them. C, shopping seasonally is going to help keep prices down. When I was talking about the berries, no, you don't want to buy berries in winter fresh, but if you do like fresh berries from time to time, buy them when they're in season, because that means they have an abundance of them, and so the price is going to be lower. It's like supply and demand. Supply is high, so demand isn't as high, so the prices are lower. I did do an entire episode many, many months ago now on the benefits of eating seasonally, so I will drop that in the show notes as well, because there are numerous benefits of eating seasonally, one of which is the prices are lower. And D, probably the most obvious, but that doesn't mean people do it, cooking at home. The cost-saving benefits of meal prep, using the foods that I listed, other foods that are similar, is going to be so significant. The average Canadian household spends around $2,500 per year on restaurant food. That is a lot of money going to the restaurants, likely to food that isn't benefiting your gut. So I'm not saying never ever eat out. It is totally fine to go out, eat at a restaurant with your friends, your family, enjoy yourself from time to time. But if you find that you are eating out or grabbing takeout, getting a meal on the go, more than you are cooking at home, you may want to consider making more meals at home and start small. Listen to my episode from last week. We don't want to say, stop takeout altogether. You're not going to do that. But if you're eating takeout 6 times a week, crank that down to 4, just take it step by step, bring it down, work on it. It's going to save you money and it's going to make you feel better, because the food you make at home is guaranteed to be better quality, more nutrient dense, better for your gut than the food at McDonald's. So I'm really hoping by now you no longer think eating healthy is going to cost you an arm and a leg, because it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be the fancy packaged products labeled organic, the sugar-free cookies and this and that. As I said at the beginning, those are treats. Those are optional. If you want to buy those and you can afford it, go for it. I buy that shit all the time because I love food. I love eating. And I have a gluten and dairy sensitivity, so I can't have the regular stuff, nor do I want it at this point. But the point is, you don't need that stuff. It's optional. Whether you have set a New Year goal for yourself or not, I want to challenge you. So try incorporating at least 3 of the foods I listed today in your meals this week or next week. You can plan for it and see how you feel, see how you like them, how you use them in recipes, and how much do they cost. Is it going to cost you a fortune to go out and buy some chia seeds and frozen berries? I don't think it will. I'd love to know what you end up buying and making with it. So you can message me or send me a photo through Instagram at beyond.bloated, or email me, carlyclose@beyondbloated.com. I'm also happy to help you come up with ways to eat these things. So reach out and I will talk to you soon or next week. Thank you for listening to the Beyond Bloated podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe and leave a review. And don't forget to share this podcast with your fellow gut goddesses. If you'd like to chat about today's episode, send me a DM on Instagram at beyond.bloated. Until next time, bye!